But to see one in a bright color, especially on a speed model, is super exciting. We have done all the service on it the past number of years. So these Bentleys, even though they are a coupe, these were no supermodel back in the day. Bentley was kind of meant to be the luxury performance driver's car. You really do feel the driver's edge in this one. Hey everyone, and welcome back to DC Motorwerks. My name is Cameron, and today we have brought you a 2008 Bentley Continental, but this is a 2008 Bentley Continental GT Speed. So this is the extra horsepower AMG MS RS. So this is the extra power version of the Bentley Continental GT in this beautiful St. James red, which is super uncommon on this era of Bentley. They were always kind of grays and blacks and that sort of thing, kind of neutral colors. But to see one in a bright color, especially on a speed model, is super exciting. And this one has just 39,000 miles. This one is on consignment with us. One of our clients has had it for I think 4 years or so now. And he's always on the road. He is a truck driver, but whenever he came home, he polished and conditioned the leather on this thing and drove it around while he was in town. But he is getting ready to move to Europe. So he is ready to unload this one, but we have done all the service on it the past number of years, so it really just needs nothing but a new owner, which is a super exciting way to own a Bentley. If you look through the listing photos on this one, because this one is currently live on Bring a Trailer, no reserve, going to its new home at the end of the auction, but there are a bunch of service records on this car from the Bentley dealer and from us and from others. There's really hardly any flaws on this car. There were a couple little chips along the front, but nothing really to write home about. And there's a couple flaws in the upper part mount of the bumper there, which is pretty standard. These Bentley bumpers of this era were pretty fragile, and so it's good to see one in that good of shape. Down the side, no dings or anything to speak of, and freshly polished, beautiful St. James red, which is a pretty neat name of the color. A nice little touch here also. Kind of harken back to a number of years ago when everyone said YOLO, or you only live once, and he got himself the W12. Neat thing while we look at our YOLO license plate is to open the trunk. You actually push the B. And while not the fastest thing in the world, it does work properly, whereas a lot of Bentleys of this era, you would do that and it would kind of skip and wouldn't really open all the way or properly. But this one works great. And there's our car cover. And like I said, his favorite hobby on the weekend was conditioning his leather. And then with one push of the boot close, does have its English roots there, even though this is, I'd pretty much say, mostly a German car. So a Ferdinand Piëch era car here, which were kind of notoriously difficult to maintain and very complicated, especially with the W motors, which they use the W8 and a lot of the Volkswagen stuff, and then the W12 in these, and then you also had the W16 in the Veyron and Chiron. Get the beautiful flying B there to go with it. Just a beautiful shape. These were always such a cool car. When they came out in about, like, was it 03, 04, these were one of the cars to have of that time period. And if you sprung up for the speed, you got an extra 50 horsepower. You got the nice 20-inch multi-spoke wheels. There were some other options, of course, but we also got some different suspension damping and so forth, just to make it, you know, that extra sportiness for your Bentley, because that was kind of Bentley's thing, was like big luxury, but as a driver's car also. Whereas back when Bentley and Rolls were kind of commingled, they were essentially the exact same cars, but the Bentley cars were marketed towards the driver, whereas the Rolls cars were marketed towards to be driven in. That's kind of a little bit of a history lesson of Bentley. And you know, if you ever seen back in the old days of Bentley, the big racing Bentleys from way back when. But we're going to show you under the hood there, but there you can see the nice speed marker there on the sill plate. So before we moved it to this position, we wanted to hear y'all a cold start, although it is very hot here in Georgia, but a hasn't been started in a while start, we'll call it. But neat little thing about the hood on these is that the secondary hood release is your B for your Bentley, which is super cool. Also keeps you from getting your hands dirty or anything. In there is the 6-liter W12. So 2 VR6 engines stuck together at the crank essentially, and a beautiful representation of an engine here with the twin intakes here. You got the exposed, you know, nicely finished fasteners there. Really a tightly packed engine bay, and it really is a rather small engine if you think about it as far as overall profile. And that was the benefit of the W engines, is that the cylinders were offset. So instead of being one after the next and making a V12, which is super long, the W really shortened that and made it about the profile of an 8-cylinder engine. So they were able to package things, big engines in a lot of smaller cars. This one puts out 600 horsepower and it has a ZF 6-speed transmission. Like, the core of these engines are actually very reliable. It's just kind of access and everything that is kind of difficult. But like I said, this one is fully serviced. We did the spark plugs, we did the thermostat, the transmission service, the oil's been changed. Like I said, you can run through all the service records, but pretty much anything this was due for, he said, get it done. I want it, whenever I come to town, I want this to be perfect. And you can see even the cabin filters are nice there, even though I think we did them a couple years ago, but it doesn't get driven all that much. And we've also got the car cover in the trunk. The nice proper Bentley branded one. Look at that, you even get soft close. And then you just lock it down. You know it's locked when your B retreats back into the hood there. So like I said, it is very hot here, so let's go ahead and jump in the interior and spend some time there in some nice air conditioning. So here we are driving the Bentley Continental GT Speed. You can see this is a beautiful place to spend time, even this many years later. Like I said, this is a 2008 model, and these came about in 2003, 2004, and it has held up wonderfully. The leather and everything, just the smell, I wish you could experience, because the English leather smell is something you just can't replicate in anything else. And it is quite wonderful. So these Bentleys, even though they are a coupe, these were no supermodel back in the day. They were more of a heavyweight champion, weighing in at like 5,500 pounds. So quite the monster of a car with all-wheel drive. But like I said, that W12 really hustles this thing around, and they actually did a great job with the chassis to make it feel lighter than its heavyweight suggests. Like I said, with this one being a speed model, gives you a little bit extra performance and handling. Here you can see we've got our damping settings. So you got 4 different damping settings. You can go from comfort to full sport to really tighten it up. And you can see even the shocks get bigger when I do that, which is pretty funny. But we're just going to roll around in comfort, and then here you've got your rear spoiler and your height for your air suspension if you need to raise the height. And that will also let you put it into service mode with that button. You got your keyless ignition, which I always liked when these were in the center console rather than up on the dash. It just feels more of an event. The super nice trimming everywhere. You got contrast red stitching to match the exterior. You've got all the nice wood and silver trimmed buttons, and it just makes this a super nice place to be, especially in an era when plastics were very prevalent. And still, this screen looks great to this day. It's not a touch screen, you know, you got these buttons on the side to control it, but I kind of don't like touch screens. I like this better because you don't get nasty fingerprints all over your screen if you're a clean freak like myself. If you look outside the car there, you can even see silver chrome trimming around the mirrors. Every detail was thought of in this car. No cheap plastics really felt anywhere. I mean, you can kind of count these buttons, but they still look pretty good. You even get these sweet pull knobs to close your air vents. Like I said earlier, Bentley was kind of meant to be the luxury performance driver's car, but we've got it in sport now, and hopefully the camera can pick up just how much thrust this has. There's not a lot of drama to it, and not a lot of noise either with these twin turbo W12s. They don't have much of an engine note. They just kind of make a whirring sound, which for an ultra luxury car at the end of the day, it is pretty nice. This one is a little spunkier on the exhaust note, being a speed, although that cold startup does sound very nice on these. Here, we'll go ahead and do the old U-turn here and get into the power. Just absolutely takes off. On the subject of the screen and the radio here, this one actually comes with lifetime satellite radio, which super cool to me if you like that sort of thing. For all your controls are built into this system as well. Your different settings for tire pressure, if you're going to do normal speed, high speed, or maximum speed. I think we're just doing normal speed right now. And you can get some hard buttons to control your climate control, which is super nice that not everything's integrated into the screen. And there you go to AC, give you all your different options there. And there really is a lot you can do to adapt this car to what you want it to be. Here, let it drop into first. We'll give it some beans again. See traction control going off there, 60, and more speed and more speed. You really do feel the driver's edge in this one. And the steering feel is super tight. As I said, just a really cool spec of car that Bentleys were and are to be kind of multi-charactered. Just have that little throb of a reminder of the big W12. So we're about back at the shop here, but if you are looking for something to get 90% off or so, these are highly depreciated and a lot of car for the money. You know, for under 70 grand, you can have something that was, you know, mid $200,000 or more new. And with under 40,000 miles and all the service history, it really is just kind of a cheat code of the car market for the game of the car enthusiast, we'll call it. We love depreciation. Again, going back on that, you just kind of see the more cockpit style of both the driver and passenger. You kind of get your sectioned off sides. Just kind of give that to, again, that thought process of what type of driver or owner these cars were meant to have. So there it is, the 2008 Bentley Continental GT Speed in St. James Red. And hopefully you can hear just that sweet throb of the W12, just kind of telling you that it is there and ready to bite. But this one, like I said, is currently live on Bring a Trailer, no reserve, going to its new home. So remember to bid early, bid often, and this one can go home with you. And like I said, if you like what you see here at DC Motorwerks, like, subscribe, hit that bell icon. You won't miss what's coming up, and we'll see you on the next video.